Everybody, and welcome back to another episode roundup of the Game News Roundup, where we go over the latest gaming news, VGChartz estimates, sales comparisons, and today we'll be starting with the latest estimates that we have at VGChartz for the week ending August 20th, as well as any other monthly comparison has been posted in the last week. And then we'll go into the PlayStation 5 price increase in basically everywhere that is not the United States, Microsoft and Nintendo's response to it, as well as Phil Spencer's interview with Bloomberg, any stuff that he said during that interview, as well as any other random gaming news. That is generally the order we'll be going into this today. So, starting with the latest estimates for VGChartz through for the week ending August 20th, 2022. The order has been what it's been for several weeks, a couple months at this point. Switch has been number one for ages. PS5 in second, Series X and S in third. PS4 and Xbox One, those sales are dwindling fast as the Xbox One we know has actually been discontinued for a while. It's just that last bit of remaining stock as available on the PS4. Sony, I don't think, has officially announced it's been discontinued, but they didn't provide any new shipment updates in the last quarter. So potentially that's it. Or potentially they just didn't ship 100,000, and then they'll make it eventually. We'll see. But right now, PS4 final shipment total is just over 117 million. But yeah. So for the week ending August 20th, Switch, again, number one. An estimated 263,000 units sold worldwide. 92,000 in North America. 70,000 in Europe. 58,000 in Japan. And then the rest of the world will make up the difference there. PS5 in second, about the same sales as the previous week, 213,000 units sold worldwide, 86,000 in North America, 76,000 in Europe, which means actually was number one in Europe. Switch is number two, Series X and S number three in Europe. And then in Japan, 15,000 in Japan, and then Series X and S, 82,000 in North America. As you can see, sales have been fairly close between the big three. Switch, PS5, Series X and S. In North America, I mean, about 10,000 separating the three. And Series X and S in Europe, about 52,000. Nearly 10,000 sold in Japan. For Xbox, that's good. Xbox One barely sold like 115,000, 116,000, roughly. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. In Japan, lifetime. So an Xbox Series X and S can sell almost 10% of that in 1 week. Yeah. I'm not saying the sales are amazing for the Series X and S in Japan, but relatively compared to the Xbox One, sales are good. But then PS4, as you can see, just under 4,000 sold worldwide, and Xbox One 332 dropping. Well, both are dropping fairly quickly. Lifetime sales, we have the Switch. Current estimated lifetime sales as of August 20th, 111.78 million. PS5 at 22.48 million, and the Series X and S at 16.56 million. Again, as of August 20th. And then we can go into the article itself. So comparing PS5 and Series X and S compared to the same week for the PS4 and Xbox One, launched aligned. So we've got the PS5 compared to the same week for the PS4 in 2015, are up by nearly 31,000 units. The PS5 is finally, after weeks and months of tracking behind the PS4, we've had some weeks of it actually selling better than the PS4 did at the same time, which would be the week ending August 22nd, 2015. And the Xbox Series X and S is up by almost 100,000. Up over 96,000 units compared to the Xbox One. So, PS5 sold 213,000 compared to the PS4's 182,000. Series X and S, 173,000 compared to the 77,000 for the Xbox One. So sales are doing good, gen over gen right now. And then sales year over year. So for the same week a year ago, Switch sales are down, but just under 10%, 28,000 units. PS5 is down 11.5%. Not quite 28,000 units, and the Xbox Series X and S is up 42,000 units year over year, about 32%. PS4 is down almost 85%. Xbox One is down almost 97% year over year. And week-on-week sales, we have the Switch compared to the previous week is down by over 19,000 units. PS5 sales are about flat week-on-week, and the Series X and S is up by over 12,000 units. 2022 year-to-date, so January through August 20th, 2022, Switch at nearly 10 million units sold, 9.9 million. PS5, 5.51 million, and the Series X and S, 4.91 million units. Take a quick look here at the breakdown worldwide global sales, and we got the Americas. It actually includes Latin America. While on the front page here, I really have been trying to get this image updated. It's actually just U.S. and Canada right here. Just U.S. and Canada for North America. But this here includes all of Latin America as well. Switch 100,000 and all of the Americas, so U.S., Canada, Latin America, so North and South America combined. PS5, again, a little behind it, 93,000, 89,000 for the Series X and S, so about 11,000 separating all three. Europe, again, PS5 is number 1, Switch is number 2, Series X and S is in 3rd. And then in Asia, so you got Japan, mainland Asia, Middle East, we got about 82,000 for the Switch, 35,000 for the PS5, 25,000 for the Series X and S. And, well, yeah, the Xbox One, which, again, at the end of this year, we're 100% stop. We're going to stop tracking the Xbox One at the end of this year. And PS4, depending on what Sony says about shipment, if they're still producing it. If they actually have stopped, we will probably stop doing estimates of the PS4 at the end of the year. And then Oceania, which is basically Australia and New Zealand, almost 10,000 for the Switch, almost 8,000 for the PS5. And about 5,600 for the Series X and S in Oceania. Again, these are our latest estimates, and asterisks, as more data becomes available, adjustments do happen to our estimates. Generally, not always the biggest. Generally within 5 or 10% of, as more data comes in, of, the actual figures. But on a rare occasion, we can be off by a bit more than that. But generally, usually within 5 or 10% of actual figures. But looking up now at sales comparison articles, charts through July 2022 that I posted for the past week, we got Switch versus DS. Worldwide sales launch aligned. As you can see in this line here, above this line, Switch is in the lead. Below this line, the DS is in the lead. As you can see, the Switch for the first 26 months was in lead. And then the DS sales absolutely exploded and has been growing its lead pretty consistently every year. But if you look here, the DS sales are going to be winding down. It's got one more big holiday, and that's really about it for big increases of sales for the DS. What we see with the Switch here, and also the Switch is getting close to the lifetime Game Boy sales. Which is this dotted line here. Again, this blue here, DS. This red is the Switch. And here is the Wii. This darker blue line. Just for comparison, as we know, it is already past the Wii. It is on track to be passing the Game Boy before the end of the year. And then the DS, DS and PS2, we'll see if it has enough legs in it. Potentially do it. Because right now, the DS had sold 154.02 million units lifetime. And the Switch is about 43 million units away from lifetime DS sales. Is that 43 million units left in it? We'll see. It's probably going to sell like 20, 21 million this year, and then maybe 17, 18 million next year, 16 million next year. And expect drops every year. And then it also depends when the next Nintendo console comes out. We don't know. We haven't really heard anything about it. Or anything about it, because the Switch, it was good couple years when we started hearing about it. But yeah, and now we've got the Nintendo Switch versus the PlayStation 4 sales comparison, which is very different looking compared to the DS. For the first 3-ish years, you saw it went up, down, up, down, up, down. The helix of one is in the lead and the other's in the lead. One is in the lead, the other's in the lead. But then Switch sales relatively compared to the PS4 absolutely exploded. This probably being, when Animal Crossing came out and started a pandemic, and sales went, gangbusters. In the lead, the Switch is currently 16 million ahead of the PS4 when you align launches. And looking here, it's getting close to lifetime PS4 sales. It should easily surpass PS4 sales in the coming months. Definitely well before the end of the year. Because it is currently about 6 million behind PS4 sales lifetime. 6 million by the end of the year with holidays coming up. It should have no problem. Again, it is also behind the Game Boy, the PS4 sales. So yeah, PS4 is about 117 million sold lifetime. Game Boy was a bit more than that. Hold on one moment. Let's see. Yeah, we have Game Boy 118.69 million, PS4 be about 117 million, just a hair over 117 million when all is said and done. I think you got the Switch there in 5th. So, yeah. And then looking at other sales comparison, we've got the PS5 compared to the Xbox Series X and S in the United States through July 2022, based on VGChartz estimates. The PS5 at one point got to about 1.25 million units ahead. And then the Series X and S last holiday was starting to outsell it for a while. In the last couple months, the PS5 has sold a bit more than the Series X and S. But the current gap is about 500,000 after 21 months. While last generation, the PS4 ended up being about a little over 5 million ahead of the Xbox One in the US. This is definitely be a much closer, interesting race. Which, when we get into the PS5 price hike, the US was the one place that didn't get a price hike, and this is probably the main reason why, is how close the sales currently are between the two. So, yeah, we'll see how things go with this comparison. Again, these are updated once a month. And then moving on, we've got the combined sales of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S compared to the combined sales of the PS4 and the Xbox One. The current generation, PS5 and Series X and S, actually at one point grew to leak to over 3 million units. But with stock being so limited last holiday, PS4 and Xbox One caught back up and actually took almost a million lead. It was up at 800,000 lead. And the Series X and S and PS5 currently are just a hair ahead. But generally speaking, the sales are neck and neck. So in this one, this blue line here is the PS5 and Series X and S. This orange line is the PS4 and Xbox One. And then also to add another comparison, this is the PS3 and 360, this red line. But interesting enough, the PS3 and 360, in the end, actually sold more than the PS4 and Xbox One because the PS3 and 360 got a huge boost in sales later on in life. 360 especially with the Kinect, giving a decent boost in sales over the course of 2 holidays, holiday 2010 through holiday 2011, before sales started to calm back down. As you can see again here, lifetime sales, those are neck and neck, but you can see right here, PS4 and Xbox One was ahead, but then sales just dropped off rather quickly, while the PS3 and 360 just sneaked just a bit ahead. With this comparison here. And let's see another comparison. Ah, yes. The Xbox Series X and S versus the Xbox One, its predecessor. Which, this has been a good generation for Xbox hardware sales-wise. Considering we've got, above this line is the Series X and S in the lead. Below this line is the Xbox One in the lead. As you can see, Xbox One led for 1 month. That was the second month. Mainly because there was no stock for the Series X and S in December. That month after it launched, well, Xbox One did have stock. But consistently, most months, the Series X and S has grown its lead. And I believe this month here would be November or December, where this drop is, with this Xbox One closes the gap a bit. Mainly because, again, Series X has been hard to find. Series S lately this year has been much easier to find. Not as easy to find as the Switch. And the PS5, well, I mean, I've yet to see a PS5 available in actual stores. Although online, I've been seeing there's more stock available. Sony's been selling the PS5 through their own website, through PlayStation Direct. Which actually, some of the times when they actually make consoles available, PS5 is available for several hours before it finally sells out. But yeah, looking at this comparison here, Series X and S, this green line here, Xbox One, this orange line here, and you look at lifetime Xbox One, just to tick over 50 million. And Series the 360 ended up selling about 85-ish, 86 million lifetime. We don't actually have exact final totals for the Xbox One or the 360. Xbox One, Microsoft hasn't released any figures since the Xbox One hit about 10 million sold, or was it shipped? Yeah, it's a bit of a gap. It's like, all right. And then the last time Microsoft gave an update for the 360 was 84 million, but it was available on the market for another, it was like 1 or 2 years after that announcement. So you figure it sold another 1 or 2 million, maybe 3 million more after that. But yeah, currently our estimates have the Series X and S tracking ahead of any other Xbox console. As Microsoft has previously stated, the Series X and S is the fastest selling Xbox generation to date. So, So that would be it for the VGChartz estimates. Now let's go into the, I guess you want to say the one thing a lot of people want to discuss, talk about. Sony has increased the price of the PlayStation 5. Everywhere, pretty much everywhere but the US. Which is, it was just like, what? I woke up to that news, I was just like, huh? What? Huh? What? Raising the price? Sony announced last year that the PlayStation 5 disc drive was actually being sold for a profit. Well, the digital edition of the PS5 was still sold at a loss, but like 80 to 90% of PS5 sold, or the one with the disc drive built in. But the price has gone up, pretty much, yeah, everywhere. But yeah, Europe, UK, Japan, China, Australia, Mexico, Canada, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, and Vietnam. And it didn't mention potentially in other areas. So, PlayStation President and CEO Jim Ryan, shall we read his quote? "The global economic environment is a challenge that many of you around the world are no doubt experiencing. So we're gonna burden you more by raising the price of the PS5." It just feels like a slap in the face, raising the price. But yeah, we're seeing high global inflation rates as well as adverse currency trends. The US dollar is doing fairly well compared to other currencies. Like I said, it's one of the reasons why the price hasn't gone up in the US. Although I will admit, probably one of the reasons they didn't stay is for the fact that they don't want to give up market share to the Xbox in the US, because that is the strongest market for the Xbox is in the US. And I mean, the US is the biggest gaming market in the world. But yeah, Jim Ryan, yeah, we're seeing high global inflation rates as well as adverse currency trends impacting consumers and creating pressure on many industries. Based on these challenging economic conditions, Sony Interactive Entertainment, SIE, has made the difficult decision to increase the recommended retail price of PlayStation 5 in select markets across Europe, the Middle East, Africa, Asia Pacific, Latin America, as well as Canada. There will be no price increase in the United States. He added, "While this price increase is a necessity given the current global economic environment and its impact on PlayStation's business, our top priority continues to be improving the PS5 supply situation so that as many players as possible can experience everything that PS5 offers and what's still to come." I mean, raising the price and then not even like bundling anything, like, all right, we're raising the price, but here's 3 months of PlayStation Plus, or I say here's a free game, but actually for a few months now, they've been selling a PlayStation 5 bundled with Horizon Forbidden West for, what, $50 more or so than the standard PS5? And that has been confirmed. I can't recall. There's a couple people who track sales. That half of PS5 sold recently have been the version bundled with Horizon Forbidden West. Half. 50%. But yeah, here is the new prices for the PlayStation 5. Yeah, but why though? Because reasons. Reasons. If you're in the US, you're fine. But outside of the US, it feels like a slap in the face. In Europe, it's gone up by 50 euros. The PS5, the disc drive, has gone up to 550 euros. The digital edition is 450 euros. In the UK, the price has gone up by £30. 480 pounds for the disc drive, 390 for the digital edition. Japan, the price will be going up on September 15th. Everywhere else, the price has already gone up. At least I'm fairly certain the price has already gone up. Has gone up by 5,000 yen, which I think is roughly about 50 euros or $50, roughly, with the exchange rate. It was, in my mind, it seems to be, 5,000. It's like 100 yen to the dollar. I mean, it varies. But yeah, the PS5 with the disc drive, almost 55,000 yen. PS5 digital edition, 45,000 yen. China has gone up by 400 Yuan? I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, but yeah, 400. PS5 disc drive, 4,300. Digital edition, 3,500. In Australia, it's gone up by 50 Australian dollars. So the PS5, the disc drive, is now $800 Australian. The digital edition, 650 Australian dollars. In Mexico, it has gone up by 1,000 Mexican dollars. It is now 15,000 Mexican dollars for the disc drive, 12,500 for the digital edition. In Canada, seems to have had the smallest price increase by only 20 only 20 Canadian dollars. So it's now 650 Canadian dollars for the disc drive, 520 Canadian dollars for the digital edition. Well, I didn't quite get the price increases for these other places, but also gone up in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, and Vietnam. These are the confirmed new prices in these countries, as well as other prices in other places, but I couldn't find those new prices in some of the other places. But yeah, basically it's gone up everywhere but the United States. 10% price of consoles. Yeah, it's gone up about 10%. It depends where you live, but yeah, you can say about 10%. 15% game price increase. I mean, that was the start of the generation, and technically, I think 2K was the first video game company to announce that they're going to sell games for $70 instead of $60, which is what they've been priced at in the U.S. I don't know about other countries, but the price did go up about $10 from $60 to $70. One doesn't have a second version of the PS5. That is true. The data I could find didn't list actually two of them, Philippines and Vietnam. They didn't list the digital edition. Mind you, the main PS5 is like 80 to 90% of PS5 sales. So, at least on the little bit of data we have that actually breaks down the sales between the two, because most of the data we collect at VGChartz combines both versions of the PS5 as well as the Series X and S are combined together into one, most of our sources. If they all, if every source we had broke it down, then sure, we would provide that data, but we don't get it. It's really just, Japan is the main place that gets data every single week, as well as the breakdown for every console, including it breaks down all the three Switch versions, the Lite, the standard Switch, and the OLED Switch. But most places you combine them all. But honestly, why there's no digital edition? It's something I've ever thought of. So yeah, the Series X is now, I would assume, will be cheaper than the PS5 in all these places compared to the normal PS5 with the disc drive. Obviously, the Series S was already cheaper, especially if you look at the US. It's $300 for the Series S, $500 for the Series X. PS5 is $400 for the digital edition and $500 for the one with the disc drive. And again, the US is the one place that has not seen a price increase. And paying for upgrades is just scummy for a market leader who claims to be making record profits. Well, that's a lot of companies. Although Microsoft, they seem less focused on selling as many consoles as possible, and Game Pass seems to be their main focus. Once the Activision Blizzard deal closes, Microsoft, you're going to see how much money they have, and their war chest's going to drop by, $67-ish billion once that deal is completed. And once we start seeing Call of Duty on Game Pass, I do expect Game Pass to go crazy. And Microsoft has stated Call of Duty will remain on PlayStation. Now, are all their games going to be multi-platform? No, or at least still coming on PlayStation. Xbox, all their games? Probably not. I would assume no. Starfield is Xbox and PC. But obviously, with Xbox, all their games coming to PC. You got a gaming PC, you can play all your games on. Or if you have a fast enough internet, Xbox Cloud Gaming to play all your games. So you don't need an Xbox console to play your Xbox games anymore. And even Sony is starting to release more and more of their games on the PC. And mind you, years later, we've yet to see anything within a year of release. First-party PlayStation games. We'll see with The Last of Us Part 1 remake is coming to PC soon, as well as the Uncharted Collection. The one that included was Uncharted 4 and the expansion of Uncharted 4. That's not on a PC yet, but yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to be passing on, because people are hurting money-wise. I'm hearing in Europe, or at least in the UK, people reporting their energy prices, their electricity going up by threefold. Threefold! Not 10%, 20%, no, 3 times. It sounds crazy. And they're raising the prices. Wow. $125 for new PS games in Australia. Wow. Personally, I rarely spend $60 on a game, In my mind, new games are still $60 when they come out. Unless it's the biggest game. I have Game Pass. If it's on Game Pass, obviously I'm not going to buy the game because it's on Game Pass. But most of the time, you wait a few months and you get the game on discounted. After a few months or 6 months, maybe you get it half off even. Or, sometimes within a month you get it at half off. It depends on, it's a big game. It didn't sell well. We got to drop the price quick. Like the new Saints Row game, I'm expecting that price to drop quickly with how poorly it's been reviewed. Which is I'll buy it for $20. But yeah, and Game Pass, although Game Pass is every month. But is it over 300 games now in Game Pass on Xbox? I think it's over 100 on PC. depending. And yeah, Game Pass, I mean, normal Game Pass is $10 a month. Game Pass Ultimate is $15 a month. That includes Game Pass for Xbox, PC, EA Play, and Xbox Live Gold. And I believe Microsoft, they're currently testing it, a Game Pass family plan. Where it's like a family and friends plan. Where one person spends the money for Game Pass, spends a bit more money on it, and you can give access to the Game Pass to family and friends. In the same country you live in. It doesn't work for people in other countries. Currently testing it. I think it's in like, I forget the exact countries, like Ireland and Colombia? That might be the two. But yeah, and Microsoft and Nintendo responding to the price hike, sort of responding. Yeah. Obviously, when Sony announced the price hike, everyone like, alright, hey, Microsoft, Nintendo, what are you gonna do? So Microsoft spokesperson, in a statement sent to Windows Central, basically said there are no plans to raise the price of the Series X or Series S consoles. So, the Microsoft spokesperson, we are constantly evaluating our business to offer our fans great gaming options. Our gaming Series S suggested retail price remains at $299, £250 or €300, which of course hold on a minute, wait a minute, let's open this one back up here. Hold on. Alright, so the price is the same, but £250 for the Series S or £450 for the Series X, compared to £480 for the PS5 with a disc drive, versus $450. So yeah, the Series X is now £30 cheaper in the UK, and the Series S is $250. But it is a slightly weaker spec console in the Series X or PS5. Series S is mainly more of an entry level next gen console. I think it's a weaker GPU, slightly less RAM, and 500 gig SSD versus 1 terabyte SSD, and designed to run games at 1080 or 1440p versus 4K. But yeah, you look at £250 for the Series S, or $480 or $390 for the PS5. And then euros, we're talking about 300 or 500 euros. And now we're talking about 550 euros. So the Series X is 50 euros cheaper now than the PS5. And the Series S, 300. I mean, yeah, a big increase in Europe, especially considering Europe is their biggest market. Like, they have the biggest lead in mainland Europe compared to anywhere else in the world. Just really feels like a slap in the face to anyone who's been wanting it. Although, of course, with scalpers and most retailers that do get PS5s in stock, they almost always bundle it with games anyway, because the demand is there for that. Let's see, is that? Yeah. That was really it. And I mean, Microsoft didn't say much. Basically just saying, yeah, we're not increasing the price. That's about it. And Nintendo said the same thing in its own statement. It also has no plans to raise the price for the Switch. As our president, this is from a Nintendo spokesperson, as our president, Mr. Furukawa, stated at the 82nd annual general meetings of shareholders in June, so they've already said this, but they reiterated, while we cannot comment on pricing strategies, we currently do not have any plans to change the price of our hardware due to inflation or increase procurement costs in each country. We will determine our future pricing strategies through careful and continued deliberations. While the final price to consumers is always determined by retailers, as Mr. Furukawa stated, Nintendo has no plans to increase the trade price of its hardware. So, Switch, Series X and S, prices they will remain the same. Prices most likely won't be going down anytime soon, with the price of parts having gone up. So, but yeah, PS5 going up in price, Series X and S, and Switch prices are remaining the same as before. The Switch actually, despite coming out in March 2017, has yet to receive a price cut. The standard Switch is still $300. The OLED, which came out last year, is $350, which is the same launch price. And the Switch Lite, when it came out in I want to say it was 2019 when the Switch Lite came out, is still $200. Again, these are US dollars. Although I think, if I recall correctly, the Switch got a small price cut in Europe last year, right before last holiday. It was a very small. I think they said it was due to the currency exchange rate or something. They dropped the price. It was a very small price cut. I'm pretty sure they did. But yeah, I still amazed. I'm still like almost in shocked they announced the PS5 price increase. It just seems so bizarre. But, you know, that's Sony doing what they're doing. Yeah, they are the market. Well, you say they're the market leader, but honestly, Nintendo is the market leader. There's no way the Switch or Series X and S will ever outsell the Switch lifetime. The Switch could outsell the PS2 and the DS, become the best-selling video game platform of all time, depending on its legs and when the next Nintendo console comes out. Which, who knows? I'm guessing March 2024 at the earliest, which would be 7 years after the original Switch. Potentially holiday 2024, even March 2025. We haven't heard anything yet, so the longer it takes for us to hear anything about a new Switch console, the longer it'll be until it actually comes out. So yeah, I think that'll be about it for the price hikes, unless anyone has anything to add to it. I'm still just, yeah. If you live outside the U.S., it's just like, wow. 2025 for a new Switch, it's possible. I think March 2024 would be the very earliest for a Switch successor. The earliest. That would be exactly 7 years after the launch of the Switch. I know Nintendo does their own thing with how long between generations by the time when they launch a new console. But generally with Microsoft and Sony, it's usually 7 or 8 years between console launches. But yeah, then 2025 would be 8 years, potentially 8.5 years if it's holiday 2025. But I'm sure Nintendo wants to get a good, decent launch lineup, and first year lineup of games ready to go. Because the Switch launched with Breath of the Wild. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out not long after that. Splatoon 2 and Mario Odyssey were all in that first year, which is pretty damn good first year lineup. Then after that, you basically had it feels like yearly Pokemon releases. And then next year we do get, is it Breath of the Wild sequel? We don't have a name for it yet, but yeah, Breath of the Wild 2. It's supposed to come out next year. Which I don't expect a new Switch to come out next year. That seems way too soon. And who knows? It's Nintendo. You never know. But I think that'll be about it for the price increases. So moving on to the Phil Spencer interview he did with Bloomberg last week. As I have 5 articles on different discussions he has talked about. So actually, might as well start with this one. Something that's not really a shock to anybody. Phil Spencer being the Microsoft gaming CEO, the head of Xbox, has been the head of Xbox since 2014, I want to say. But he's basically said, he expects demands to outstrip supply this holiday season for the Xbox. So yeah, Phil Spencer, I still think demand will outstrip supply for us this holiday. We'll see when we get into 2023. You'll start to see more that supply is catching up with demand, and maybe actually see one in the store when you walk in. I'm pretty sure he's more referring to the Series X, because the Series S is sometimes it sells out, but at least here where I'm in my local area of New York, I see them occasionally in stock. PS5 I've never seen in stock. On the Switch, usually there's plenty of the light and the standard Switch. OLED, sometimes it's in stock, sometimes it's sold out. But of course, that's just me locally. Xbox CFO Tim Stewart in June basically said the same thing. The supply chain environment could remain rocky through 2022 and the holiday season. So we shall see. So yeah, stock through this holiday season for at least the Series X is going to be hard to come by. I'm assuming it'll still be the same for the PS5, despite the price increase. I mean, if the PS5 price increase stays like that for, through next year, yeah, I expect to eventually start affecting PS5 sales a bit. And maybe moving some people to buy a Switch or a Series S or X. Depending on stock. And it depends, because if this PS5 price increase is only for a few months, maybe through the holiday, and it goes back down beginning of next year, then it'll be minimal effect on sales for the PS5. But, we'll see. I could be completely wrong, and sales might drop like a rock, or maybe it'll have absolutely zero effect at all. We'll find out. If all of a sudden we start seeing PS5s in store shelves, then that will be a bit of a clue. But yeah, let's see. Might as well. Yeah, Phil Spencer also said he expects there to be less and less console exclusives in the future. Console exclusives are something we're just going to see less and less of, said Spencer. Maybe you happen in your household to buy an Xbox, and I buy a PlayStation, and our kids want to play together and they can't because we bought the wrong piece of plastic to plug into our television. We really love to be able to bring more players in reducing friction, making people feel safe, secure when they're playing, allowing them to find their friends, play with their friends regardless of what device. I think in the long run that is good for this industry. And maybe in the short run, there's some people and some companies that don't love it, but I think as we get over the hump and see where this industry can continue to grow, it proves out to be true. Yeah, Microsoft has been releasing all their games, not just on Xbox consoles, as I've stated plenty of times, also on PC. Sony's starting to release their games on PC as well. Nintendo will be, I'm sure, the last holdout before they start releasing their games on PC. And I mean, I don't doubt they'll ever see their games on Xbox or PlayStation. I mean, Microsoft, yeah, they've had Minecraft and Minecraft Dungeons on PlayStation and Switch. The 2 Ori games, I believe, are also on Switch. Call of Duty will remain on PlayStation even once the deal closes. I know we do know Starfield from Bethesda is Xbox and PC only. I would also expect Elder Scrolls 6 to be Xbox and PC only. And as far as Call of Duty, I mean, yeah, it'll still be on PlayStation, but it'll also be on Game Pass in the future. And Call of Duty marketing will have the Xbox and Game Pass logo at the end, but it'll still be on PlayStation. And then Blizzard is mainly more popular on PC, at least with World of Warcraft, or I guess Overwatch probably more popular on console. And then Diablo will be more popular, and StarCraft more popular on PC. And then obviously with Activision Blizzard, everyone forgets it includes King, which I believe is the creators of Candy Crush, which is still like one of the biggest mobile games out there. So Microsoft will be honing. They want to get into the mobile market some more, and Candy Crush is one way to do it. And King and other games they develop. I could be wrong. It might not be Candy Crush, but yeah. Phil Spencer is expecting less and less console exclusives in the future. Mainly because I'm expecting more to do with games coming to PC more than on rival consoles, at least in the near term. Maybe eventually exclusives will be more of a thing of the past. Who knows? We'll see. Come many years down the road. So, Phil Spencer. Speaking of the Activision Blizzard deal, he feels good about the progress. About the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So Phil Spencer says, "I feel good about the progress that we've been making, but I go into the process supportive of people who maybe aren't as close to the gaming industry, asking good hard questions about what is our intent, what does this mean, if you play it over 5 years, is this constricting a market, is it growing a market?" He added he's never done a $70 billion deal, which is true. No one at Microsoft has done a $70 billion deal. Most companies have never done a $70 billion deal. So I don't know what my confidence means. I will say discussions we've been having seem supportive. And recently, Saudi Arabia became the first country to approve the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. It's like 16 or 17 countries need to approve it. The U.S. being a big one, the European Union. I know it's not really a country, but the whole European Union needs to approve it. UK needs to approve it. A bunch of places need to approve it. So yeah, he feels good about it. We'll see. Could be approved by the end of the year. Be approved next year, or maybe it'll be blocked in some country, and then Microsoft has to fight it. We'll see in the coming months. But one big thing has come out with Microsoft. They have come out in favor of unions, or at least they've come out saying we're not going to, if our employees want to unionize, they're more than welcome to. They form a union, and then we'll negotiate with the unions. Is how they've come out. But yeah, so Phil Spencer during that interview with Bloomberg also discussed unions. So Phil Spencer said, "I've never run an organization that has unions in it, but what I can say in working through this is we recognize workers need to feel safe and heard and compensated fairly in order to do great work. We definitely see a need to support the workers and the outcomes that they want to have." Activision Blizzard, I think it's a Raven Software. Some of the employees there formed their own union. Microsoft said they will recognize the union once they become part of Microsoft and Xbox. But yeah, this is not the first time Microsoft and Phil Spencer's come out in support of unions. But yeah, Phil Spencer previously said unions are a right of employees and something that can be a part of a relationship between a company and people who work at the company. We absolutely support employees' right to organize and form unions. Because of this, the Communications Workers of America, the largest communications and media labor union in the U.S., sent a letter to the FTC in June coming out in support of Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Also, all the other issues Activision Blizzard, hopefully Microsoft can clean up the company once the deal is closed. I mean, it'll take time, but hopefully things improve at Activision Blizzard with we all know, I think a lot of you know the issues. saying it's kind of like a frat boy environment at Activision Blizzard. A lot of sexism and other issues, to say the least. So, alright, Ness, be right back. Sounds good. And the last thing from Phil Spencer. He is cautious about play-to-earn games. Or being able to play-to-earn in games. Although, his quote about play-to-earn. Play-to-earn specifically is something I'm cautious about. It creates a worker force out of players for certain players to kind of monetize. However, he does add, now to be fair for us in the games industry, this has existed for years and years. There have been gold farmers of people who literally just spend their time doing some menial task in the game to accrue some currency, in the game. And then they said they could then sell to some other rich player for real money so that person doesn't have to spend their time to get the currency, the in-game currency. But now you find games that are starting to build that into the economy of the game itself. I think he's specifically referring to World of Warcraft and other MMOs, where some people literally just spend their time running like the easiest quest or something to earn a bunch of in-game currency, hours and hours a day, and then just selling that in-game currency to other people for real money. And Phil Spencer also came out mentioning Mojang's statement on how Mojang will not allow NFTs or blockchain technologies to be in Minecraft. We made some comments in Minecraft about how we review NFTs in this space, because we saw people doing things that we thought were exploitive in our product, and we said we don't want that. I think sometimes it's a hammer looking for a nail when these technologies come up at the actual human use or player use. In our case of these technologies, I think there could be some interesting things referring to play to earn and stuff, but he's cautious about it. So that is the Phil Spencer interview with Bloomberg, some of the quotes that he said. We also talked about the VGChartz estimates as well as the PS5 Price Hike. So that is the main news over the past week. But we can go over some other little things. Things I could really go over real quick. New Mafia game, it is in development. It is at least a few years away from release. There's really nothing else to say about that. So move on from there. Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle has topped 10 million players worldwide on its 5th anniversary. Sony has acquired mobile game developer Savage Game Studios and has also formed a mobile division under PlayStation. PlayStation announced it has entered an agreement to acquire mobile game developer Savage Game Studios. The developer will be joining the newly creative PlayStation Studios mobile division. It will operate independently from PlayStation's home console development and focus on games based on new and existing PlayStation IP that are innovative on-the-go experiences. Savage Game Studios, they were founded in June 2020 by a team with years of experience in developing some of the most popular mobile games enjoyed by players around the world. Didn't specifically say which mobile games. But Savage Game Studio Savage Game Studio CEO and co-founder Mikhail Katkoff. I always apologize with my pronunciation with a lot of things. Thanks, Herman. Hello, everyone in the PlayStation community. Established in 2020 and led by myself and fellow co-founders, Studio was born of our many years of mobile game development experience, spanning a number of massively successful global intellectual property. Our guiding vision was a creative space where experimentation and taking risks weren't warily avoided, but rather eagerly embraced. We've all worked at big studios, and while we respect the advantages of ample resources, we wanted to stay small and nimble so we could call our own shots. So why then? You may be thinking to yourself, would you join PlayStation Studios? Basically, if you want to remain small and nimble. We made this deal because we believe that PlayStation Studios leadership respects our vision for how we can best operate and succeed, and because they too are not afraid to take chances. All of that, plus the ability to potentially tap into PlayStation's amazing catalog of intellectual properties, and the fact that we will benefit from the kind of support that only they can provide. The harder question to answer would be, why not? So yeah. Sony acquired Savage Game Studios, Mobile Game Studios, and they have formed their new PlayStation Studios mobile division. Let's see, any other news? There was this report. Not really so much a report, just a leak of the Game Pass family plan of the logo, Game Pass, Friends, and Family. Literally is not much to say about it, just the logo is potentially leaked. It's been found on the Xbox backend, so it's probably what it'll be called, Xbox Game Pass Friends and Family Plan. Which is currently being tested in Colombia and Ireland for Xbox insiders. Gungrave Gore launches November 22nd for the PS5, Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Embracer. Actually, not much more to say. Embracer Group's acquisition of Crystal Dynamics, Eidos, and Square Enix Montreal have now been completed, acquiring them from Square Enix. Are now part of Embracer, which they might own more studios than any other company out there at this point. I'd really be surprised. They are going to form Embracer's 12th operative group under the leadership of Phil Rogers and his management team. More information about the deal will be released later. So yeah, that deal has closed. Second Extinction comes out for the Series X, Xbox One, PC on October 20th. WB Games, Warner Brothers Games, has not been hit with layoffs and no projects have been canceled. Mainly because with the merger between Warner Brothers and Discovery, a lot of projects, TV shows, movies, and whatnot have been canceled. There have been a lot of layoffs at Warner Brothers, but specifically Warner Brothers Games has not been affected by it. They've had 2 successful launches this year with Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, as well as Multiverses. PlayStation VR 2 for the first time is going to be playable at the Tokyo Game Show next month with Resident Evil 8, the VR version of it. It's been the first time people get their hands on PSVR 2. An analyst predicts the PS5 price increase will have minimal impact on the sales of the console. I somewhat agree, but it depends on how long it ends up going for. And we'll see what actually ends up happening in the long run. Let's see. A Horizon Zero TV show is in development by the showrunner for Umbrella Academy. The Umbrella Academy showrunner, Steve Blackman, is developing a Netflix TV show based on the popular PlayStation game Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn is an exceptionally well-crafted game with wonderful characters not often seen in the rank and file of the gaming world, said Blackman. Guerrilla Games has created an incredibly lush and vivid world of man and machine who find themselves on a collision course to oblivion. Their salvation comes in the form of a young female warrior named Aloy, who has no idea she is the key to saving the world. Suffice it to say, yes, Aloy will be a main character in our story. My writing partner on this and I are thrilled to be able to expand this remarkable IP into a series for all types of viewers, which I'm assuming that means it's gonna be a bit before we hear anything about it. Quite in development for a while. I think that would be just about it for any major gaming news over the last week. So, if you've been watching this on YouTube, hope you've enjoyed. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment down below. All it helps out with the YouTube algorithm and all that stuff. And if you want to watch this live, I do these on Monday nights, usually around 6:30, 7 p.m. Eastern start time. Twitch.tv/TrunksWD. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. See you all next time.